Hello, fifth graders. Welcome to your word work lesson. We have been working on idioms that have the word blue in them. Now, blue blood is our idiom today, and this is the literal meaning. But actually, I thought I would share with you the origin story of blue blood. It's kind of interesting. So this expression is actually an older Spanish saying from Spain. So old aristocratic Spanish families used to boast or brag that their skin was fairly light because they had not intermarried with the darker skinned Moors. So just a little history in Spain. Spain is very close to the northern part of Africa, and in their very long history, people from North Africa called Moors traveled and immigrated to Spain and settled there. And so then people started intermarrying and mixing, right? And so then this idea of mixing of blood was something that Spaniards didn't necessarily like. So the Spaniards' veins showed through their skins as visibly blue in color, right? So if you look at your veins, they look kind of bluish, don't they? And so the story is, if their skin was darker because they had intermarried, the blood would not appear so blue. So they like to say that they had blue blood, meaning they were of noble birth or of high society, like their blood hadn't been mixed. So it's an idea that unfortunately happens in many cultures. And it's not a good thing necessarily, of course, because we are judging people based on skin color and such. But this is where the idiom came from. So if you had blue blood, it meant you were of high or noble birth, like royalty, like a royal family. An aristocrat is somebody who's like of noble birth or has like, they're born into wealth, they're rich. Okay, like imagine like castles and palaces and manors, stuff like this, from upper class society. So we use it now, not talking about like Spain or anything, but that's where it came from. I thought it was an interesting story. So here's some examples. Steve is marrying a very rich girl from high society, a real blue blood. Elsa and Anna from Frozen are of blue blood because they're part of a royal family, right? They're the princesses of Arendelle. So that's an example of blue blood. And we learned all these other blue idioms: once in a blue moon, bolt from the blue, out of the clear blue sky. So we learned all of those as well, as you know. And we have been working on suffix ible, which means can be done. So if something is audible, it's loud enough for you to hear it. If something or somebody is flexible, this means they can be changed easily to suit any situation. Something that's flexible can be bent easily as well. If somebody is sensible or a situation is sensible, it's reasonable, it's practical, it shows good judgment. Compatible is our ible word today. Compatible, question, sentence. Will the software on my Chromebook be compatible with a Mac? It won't be, but that's an example. What does compatible mean? So if two pieces of computer equipment or software are compatible, they can be used together, especially when they are made by different companies. So generally, like Chromebook and Mac, nothing's compatible. The chargers aren't compatible. The cables aren't compatible. I can't use a Mac charger on the Chromebook. I can't use an iPad charger for a PC type of tablet. They're not compatible. It's not going to work, right? We can also talk about being compatible in terms of able to exist or be used together without causing problems. So people can be compatible. So if people are compatible, this means they get along, right? We can also talk about it like in a romantic sense. Like if two people get married, that means that they're compatible, right? That they like each other, love each other, and can be together and not have problems. So they are compatible. Now, we are working on aqua, Latin root, which means water. So we learned aqua, a light bluish green color, Aquamarine is similar. Aquarium is a place where we can keep fish and water animals. And if anything is aquatic, it means it's living or growing in water or involving or happening in water. Today we have the word aqueduct. Aqueduct. It's a structure like a bridge that carries water across a river or valley. Old aqueducts come from the Roman period and look like this. This is how in the olden days, ancient civilization days, they could move water from one place to another place. Currently, our aqueduct system looks like this. This is an actual image of the California aqueduct. The California aqueduct is a system of canals, tunnels, and pipelines that collects water from the Sierra Nevada mountains and valleys from northern and central California to southern California. Okay, so our water comes from the Sierra Nevada mountains and from northern and central California. How does it get to us? It travels in this aqueduct all the way to southern California where we live. Isn't that interesting? Now, as you know, we've been working. I'm just going to continue on with this because I just have another quick thing to tell you. So there's not going to be a second video today, but we've been working on all these new Latin roots. Some will review. And so you know that on the Wonders test tomorrow, where there are going to be lots of questions about Latin roots. We're going to see it on the S-back, so I wanted us to practice. The Latin root man means hand. We know a word in Spanish, right? Mano, which means hand. So what does this tell you about a manual coffee grinder? So this is a manual coffee grinder where you actually have to use your hand to turn this handle, move it around to grind these coffee beans into smaller particles. So this is more work, obviously, versus this is an automatic coffee grinder. You push a button and it'll just grind all the coffee for you, however much you put in there. Versus this one is manual. You actually have to keep turning it, right? You may have seen something like a manual telephone. We don't have that now because it's inconvenient. It's harder to use. So this is a manual coffee grinder, and you're going to answer the questions about that at the end of this Google form. So good job, 5th graders. I hope you've learned lots this week. And tomorrow we're going to learn a few more things and take the quiz. Thank you.